Okay, so let's click this button. Let's do this. So, for everyone who doesn't know, my random voice across the internet with the ones and zeros, I'm Fayte. And
I'm
yeah, I'm joined by Era. We are going to be running Chrono Trigger as soon as, everything catches up to us with the cropping, because I forgot to resize things. There we go. All right.
Hey, we can just go back in time and fix this in advance. That's what this game teaches us, right?
I suppose so. I am missing sound, so why am I missing game audio? For real, why am I missing game audio? Oh, wait. I think I broke something for real. One moment. Good to go! Okay. Okay, Jay. We'll be good to go as soon as I figure out why I don't have audio for you guys at all. Because it was literally working up until the restream. So, while we wait, why don't you tell them a little bit about what we're planning to do with this Defeat Magus run, Era?
There's been a long-running conversation about whether or not Chrono Trigger is the best JRPG on the Super Nintendo. In this particular case, we're going to be running about the first 65-70% of the game. It's going to show you all of the things that make this game great, without showing a couple of things that just make the speed run a bit difficult going on a little bit later. Lots of characters, lots of learning in regards to RNG manipulation, people glitches that we make heavy use of. They're not really major per se, but they really allow you to see what's amazing about Chrono Trigger and then still picking up the pace a little bit so you get more action faster.
Okay. I am ready when you are, Era.
Waiting for you this whole time.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's almost like we're fated to sit here waiting for someone to be Fire 9. Jay.
There's no one happier than me right now.
Alright. So, start off with, we've got some housekeeping things that I forgot to do because I was focused on working with getting sound set up. So, how's it going, Keith? We will be doing, at least I will be doing, $10 donation for every tab I pick up, and a tab is an item that permanently increases our stats. This game has RNG manipulation that I'm horrible at, so I will be donating $10 every time I drop the RNG. And then Era and I have a bet going on whether or not I can beat his PB. So, depending on whether or not I beat his PB, we've got money on the line for that, for all of this as well. So, start off with, I'm doing my menu A if you want to take over, Era.
There are a couple of important things here. First and foremost is we're going to set our battle speed to 1, because we're speedrunners, and we don't like waiting unless we absolutely have to. Couple of other little changes. We're going to change our battle cursor to memory so that it knows what we were doing last. This is going to come up a lot because generally we're doing the best thing and we want to do more of the best thing. Lastly, we change a couple of button mapping pieces around. That's going to matter once in the entire run, but it's going to save us time to take care of it now while we're already in the menu.
Well, that now it's muscle memory, so if I try changing it, I will be so messed up forever and ever.
Anyone who played Chrono Trigger throughout their life is going to have a hard time remembering that their menu button is no longer X, which for PlayStation controllers is triangle. This is the button you always use to enter menus. Now we're going to put it on the Y button, which is where square would be, and doing that later in life can cause some complications.
Jay, I thought you were going to remove the incentives. You're killing me, Smalls.
Wait, we have extra incentives?
I mean... Ooh! I got it, Era. The candy skip.
Wait. Oh, that's huge! Fayte has been practicing this for precisely 1 day.
So, what does the candy skip do? Because I know now how to do it, but I still have no idea what it does.
Well, when we're interacting with the guy that sells the cotton candy that Marl's super interested in, we still have to have that cutscene at some point or another. But by passing him now, we trigger the cutscene on the way back. It's going to drag us in front of the NPC, which means that we actually get to save that walking time while we're in that cutscene. It's a very mild time save, but all of these things add up for us. Not too much going on right now, other than the core foundation of the game, I suppose. Luca has built a teleport, and it's supposed to transport a person from the left teleport to the right teleport, which sounds amazing, especially when we're talking about the mid-90s, except something's going to go wrong, and that's going to be when our adventure begins.
And it kind of it begins because this contraption that our childhood friend has built is supposed to take us from one side of this square to the other side, but for some reason it interacts with this girl that we kind of bumped into's pendant. So it opens up that blue weird warpy thingy that we're now deciding, you know, if we send someone through this blue, weird, warpy thingy, we should probably try and go save them.
Well, then that's just the human thing to do, right? I would do that. Would you do that?
I mean, I'm clicking the buttons to do that.
Okay, we're on board. This is the right thing to do. Let's go find this girl.
I don't know, though. We're at a fair. We could spend tons of time just being at the fair and hanging out and playing all the minigames.
You know, we could go see Gato. He likes silver points.
And he's got metal joints.
Where are we now? This is a very strange... This isn't the fair?
And this is the very first spot where I hope I don't drop RNG. Well, I mean, I kind of hope I do, but at the same time, I really don't.
You might find it weird. Fayte's been playing this game an awful long. Started the game and he had no save files whatsoever. That's weird, right? Well, not quite. We start with no save files because it generates the same seed every time. Alternatively, if we did have save files, RNG progresses between the time that you press the A button on the title screen to when you select your save, and we're just very grateful that the one that we pick is the RNG that we want. Unfortunately for Fayte. Do you want to explain what happened there?
No, I really don't. Aside from, I will now be donating $10 because I dropped RNG already.
We have a strat for that very first fight with the 3 blue imps where you have to attack the second imp, then the third imp, and then the first. Unfortunately, we attacked the first imp, and that means that we got hit. And every time an action is taken, either by us or one of the enemies, RNG is going to advance a little bit more, and then we get into a battle that snaps to something called a battle value. We wanted to stay on track. Unfortunately, we didn't, but we did get an extra $10 out of Fayte. So let's get some hype for extra donations from Fayte. We're gonna see more, don't you worry. It's okay. This game is incredibly forgiving as far as a speedrun is concerned. We have lots of opportunity to go back to our loading screen after saving to put RNG back where it's supposed to be. We have to do this in a couple of places, but there's a few extra forgiving places as well. Thankfully, this early on, it doesn't even matter that much anyways. It's really just a bit of a time save. Fayte's probably gonna lose about 15 seconds total, I think, here for the fights going into the cathedral. It's not gonna be huge.
So the other thing that's really, really nice about this run is how easily accessible it is. yes, there is RNG manipulation, but up until towards like the last 2 fights of this particular run, it doesn't matter if I'm on RNG or not. All it really does for us is save time. The RNG that we have, we know how the enemy is going to respond. We know where our critical hits are going to be. We know pretty much everything about it. But when you're off, you just kind of got to make sure you got enough potions. Or tonics.
And we will be picking those up too, because the stuff just happens. So remember that girl that we jumped into the portal to go find out where she went? Well, she just vanished into thin air.
Jay yeeted her out of the game.
Yeah, just straight out of the game. I mean, if we make enough money between now and the next 7 minutes or so, she might come back. So let's get the donations in for that. We want to see Marl again. We can't just leave her abandoned. We have learned that we're somewhere in the past. Somewhere in the range of about 400 years prior than when we came from. Lots of people might find this hard to understand, but it's not a big deal to Chrono. This is everyday stuff for Chrono. We don't know where he got the experience from, but he is completely unfazed. Luca, who built the telepod, has followed us back in time to come and rescue this girl who got trapped in her telepod. And she's explained to us that Merle is, in fact, Princess Nadia, a descendant of the line of Guardia. So it turns out she might just be a little more important than we thought. So Luca says, definitely save her life. Let's go find her, and we gain our first party member.
And so part of the reason that she tends to disappear at this point is we find out if we talk to people in... Oh, hey, good call. I kind of need this fight. We get to talking, and we find out that the queen has actually gone missing. And for some reason, her descendant looks very, very similar to her. So...
Alternate, every generation has a different dress.
But because of that, everyone stops looking for the queen as soon as 2020 shows up, because I think that's the right one.
So there's a reason why Fayte had to go back for that fight, and the only reason we take fights in Guardia Forest right now is to first teach Chrono Cyclone, and Luca will learn Flame Toss, and we need that for our dual tech Firewall, which we'll be using in the next area. Plus there's an awesome little power tap here. What do power taps mean for us again, Fayte?
Some about donating another $10.
They each, right? So this is $20 right here. You're picking up $20.
I feel like this is a solid plan.
There's another $20. I get the strange feeling it won't be too long before we get another one. So this is Minoria Cathedral. It's going to be our first dungeon of the game, and as any appropriate dungeon goes, it's going to start off with a fight. Thankfully, again, as we mentioned, RNG doesn't matter too much this early on. It's just a little bit slower, especially when these guys like to inflict slow. Battle Speed 1, we don't notice it too much. We're really happy about this.
I'm not sure how I did it, Eric, because I took 2 extra fights, but I'm on RNG again.
So if we lose it in the next fight, that's another $10.
Yeah. But I genuinely don't know how I picked it back up. And introducing everyone's favorite character, and if you don't have this as your favorite character of any video game of all time, you're wrong. And I'm sorry, you now need to donate to All Kids Deserve to Eat.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go do that, because I'm pretty sure any character that sings Never Gonna Give You Up is probably my favorite. Jay, can we get that dono link, please?
Oh, the amount of love I have for you, Era, knows no bounds.
What was that name? Rick? Was that for Rick Astley?
You know it, because we can't ever give up on these runs, or me keeping RNG. So at this point, we've found this frog who has been looking for the queen and tracked her to this cathedral. So since we're here looking for the queen, we decide to join him, after deciding that he's not as gross as he looks just because he's a frog. This would be a great time to discuss fade-outs, Era, because this is the first time I do a fade-out along with grabbing another tab.
Well, I was thinking the same thing. So there's a certain number of frames when you try to exit a room in which the screen goes from its regular brightness to black. And it's when it hits black that the transition actually takes place. By opening our menu, the screen comes back to full brightness when you exit. And we can keep doing this as many times as we like, as long as we don't let it go to full black, and we can keep moving along the screen. Fayte just used it to pick up an item, and then instead of going through the jingle of collecting said item, he got to immediately exit the room after collecting it. This saves a little bit of time.
Well, yeah, because we're speedrunners, we don't like wasting time, and I don't like paying for things, so if I can walk out of a door without doing it in a video game, heck yeah.
We can use this for so much more than just collecting items. In fact, just about anything we interact with can be cancelled.
Including bosses. And I guess I didn't pick up RNG as well as I thought I did, because I should have crit on both of those attacks from Rick, and I didn't crit on either one of them. So I didn't pick it up like I thought I had.
You sure you didn't just lose it again?
You know, better safe than sorry. Let's just assume I did. So that's what? We're up to $40 now? 2 RNG drops, two tabs?
So it's 60 total.
No, I'm not paying 60 yet. I'm at 40, sir. I mean, I appreciate you trying to donate on my behalf, but yeah. I mean, unless you're doing 60, and then I'm totally fine with that.
I'm not in on your RNG drops. I knew better.
So the next thing we're working on is the unequip glitch. You want to go into details on that one, please?
So by switching from one of our characters to the other in our equip menu, and by interacting with said menu at the same time, it opens our other character's menu. So we're going from one character's accessory to the other character's armor, and it tries to go, okay, what accessories can I equip here? Normally you can't unequip things, but because there's nothing in that menu, you can only select the blank space, or other things they could equip. This allows us to take things off, and the fun thing about taking that equipment off is it has a little side effect. In the American version, having a piece of equipment unequipped lets you get extra resistance to lightning, shadow, and water magic damage. So you'll take a lot less, plus it's going to boost your magic damage, and more damage means shorter fights means better speedruns. The Japanese version also has a bit of a twist, where they also gain fire magic defense, but they don't get the attack boost.
So then the next thing we did is the Yarka skip. So, like Era was saying, with the fade-outs, how we interact with a lot of things. That was not the right button. I need to come back here, thank you. Now, however, it is the right button. I went from a gold split to 0.2 seconds behind because I hit the wrong button. So I think that should be a gold. And I'm pretty sure I forgot to mention another $10 for every gold split we get. What do you guys think? Does that count as a gold split?
I don't know about you guys, but I definitely think Fayte should do that.
Anyway, what we were talking about with the fade-outs in the Yarka skip is the different bosses have their triggers, and their triggers are like anything else. You stand on the right pixel or the right tile, and you start the fight with them. When we're running, we kind of keep momentum, and we can get to the far side of those triggers. If we save our game on the far side of the trigger by having that save anywhere, we're able to exit or reload the game, load in, we're on the other side of the trigger, so when we're moving around and we step on it again, we're able to still freely roam around. While we're able to freely roam around, we can cut out some of the dialogue by getting too far away from the conversations. And if we end the opening dialogue of a boss's fight without them on screen, we don't fight them. So, we get to completely skip the very first boss that, for the longest time, I thought his name was Yarka. I have been informed within the last year that it is Yakra, and I made donations for that one a long time ago. Well, within the year. So the next thing we have is going to be another one of those save beyond a trigger, along with a certain load time. Do you want to explain the load time since I'm actually working with him again, Era?
In this particular case, we're doing what's called a double bright, and we call it that because it's twice the time it takes for your screen to go from full black to full brightness on loading your save file. So we wait that period, and we wait that period again, which, if I recall correctly, is between 0.4 and 0.8 seconds.
To be honest,
a fairly large window.
To be honest, I don't actually know what the timing is, because for a double bright, I misunderstood what that term meant when I first learned it, and so I loaded up the game, I blinked twice, and then I kept playing, and me blinking twice happens to be the correct duration. Also, I dropped RNG on that part and had to reload it, so that's another $10.
We're raking it in, don't tell Fayte.
So we have RNG drops, we have golds, we have tabs. I want to make sure that I'm being honest. Robo's never... Era! Why? Why?
I'm never going to let you down.
It's okay. I'm probably going to hurt you. So, at this...
Finish this run, it'll be fine.
At this point, we end up going back through the portal we initially went through. And because we skipped the candy to begin with, as we're walking back, we have to actually do this cutscene now. Because we're doing it now, and the game is pulling us forward rather than backwards, we actually had saved some time by doing it. However, we're going to sacrifice some of that time because we're doing All Kids Deserve to Eat, so we definitely need to eat some lunch that tastes like chicken. And then 2020 is just going to say that we're a pig. So, you know, Jay, stop being a pig, would you? Just accept the fact that we're trying to give all of the kids money.
You just ensured a guilty verdict, didn't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, you bad man.
So, what Air is talking about is, at this point, we are on our way back to taking the princess to the castle, as we found out she's the princess. But we're speedrunners. For us, it's been 21, 22 minutes. In the game, we've been gone for 3 days. So everybody thinks that we kind of kidnapped the princess. Well, if they're gonna arrest us, we definitely need to be able to defend ourselves. So we get our lawyer, and we quite literally are going to trial.
I think honesty is the best approach here. We should just tell them. We kidnapped her. It was the pendant. Obviously, this thing was worth a fortune.
Oh yeah, it was definitely her money. That's why we bumped into her. It had nothing to do with trying to get the story going so we could speedrun.
I recognized her. Didn't you recognize her?
Of course. I mean, we've played this game enough. If I didn't recognize her, I might need to go to the hospital for some other reasons. So, one of the fun facts about this whole thing is that the Chancellor who just walked off screen is a descendant of the Yakra that we quote-unquote beat, or defeated, or murdered, or whatever we do as speedrunners. Where our attorney happens to be the item shop owner that we haven't actually met for some reason, at least in the game, but he's here to defend us. Is it true? Who actually started the whole mess? Fayte did or 2020 did? I'm pretty sure 2020 definitely started this whole mess.
Seems appropriate. Right there, we just got to see it. 2020 totally bumped into the queen, the princess. I mean, and then you went to the sideshow with the telepod. You let her right there as if you knew what was going to happen.
Alright, so here coming up, Jay, we will be ending up... Whoops. Oh, I lied about eating the lunch. That was my mistake. I am so sorry. We are going to be here in just a moment getting our verdict of guilty or not guilty. So, during that time, there are 7 jurors that are going to decide. Between that and the conversations after we're guilty or not guilty are perfect times for any kind of donations that you want to go with. It's probably 35 seconds to be able to do so. Is there motive? Well, I mean, she's the princess and she's got a ton of money. So yeah, we definitely admit that we wanted the money. Because we're trying to feed all the kids, because all kids deserve to eat.
If anyone you can afford to pitch in for that, it's Guardian Castle.
Alright, I'm gonna hop in here real quick and lay down some donos. Looks like we have had a few. We have Airless with a $5 donation. Robo's never going to give you up. And a $10 donation.
So that's
from
3 innocents.
Ketchum. I'm never going to give you up. Get Robo.
But we told him the truth.
Appreciate it.
So there's guilty.
And thanks also for the various raids that we have received over the past 25 minutes from Invarial. And there was another one maybe an hour ago or so, but appreciate you guys. And I'm going to give it back to these wonderful 2 peeps showing us this awesome run. All right, bye, guys.
We told the truth, and apparently we're still being carted off to prison. I can't understand why. So that double bright load that we did earlier on our way back to the future, that's right, is actually going to set the RNG for the next encounter we're in with a guard.
And the plan is to keep the RNG the entire way through this entire dungeon, which ends up only actually being 2 fights. 2 fights? 2 fights if you're not Fayte.
1, then Dragon Tank.
Yeah, that's 2 fights.
Oh, okay, you're including... Yeah, okay.
Because it's part of the dungeon. You got to beat the gigantic dragon that for some reason can stand on a bridge before we can do much. So at this point, we take a moment to heal, and then I'm going to safety save because of how often I drop RNG here. And we will... This is one of the times where we can definitely check... We've got different points through the game where we can check to see if we're on RNG. As time goes on, sometimes it gets hard to tell. we'll know if I'm on RNG based on, well, if I did my menus correctly, and when we attack this next guard, if we hit for 60 damage, I know I'm on the right RNG. So survey says that Fayte did good. Okay.
The 60.
So I get to keep $10 so far.
We'll be keeping this
Never
RNG.
mind. Never mind. Yeah, that's
Never mind. There's another $10 from Fayte.
cool. Cool.
But the RNG we're trying to keep here can actually last us right up until the next boss. Or, sorry, technically 2 bosses from now.
2 bosses. Oh, yeah, because, yep. No, we intentionally drop it on the reset series because of the slime fight.
Pseudo-intentionally. But I mean, that's the last fight before our series, and that is 2 bosses after Dragon Tank.
I know they're called R series, but they're definitely a reset. Alright, let's see if I got this 60 again. Oh. Almost. And like I said, Jay, if you want to set a donation goal of like if we hit $65,500 tonight, I'll continue on for an OLSS run. I have no problems sitting here and playing games longer and longer and longer, especially for such a good cause.
$65,000 also sounds fantastic, and it is going towards an amazing cause.
Yeah, but that 65,000 is far beyond my budget. The other thing we do is with those fade outs, like we were talking, being able to skip different conversations and bosses and things. If you start a conversation, the load screen takes the load screen takes priority over conversations. So if we start a conversation and then we have that fade out going on, we can't suddenly create the fade out, or we can't continue with the conversation, and we can't hit the menu to continue with the fade out. So the game yeets us back to where we were trying to fade out, but the game also knows that we already started the conversation or the battle trigger, so we just get to say bye.
As far as it's concerned, it happened.
Okay.
I mean, if somebody talked to me at work and I walk away, that conversation's still happening.
So we dropped RNG again, so we're now at $60 by Fayte.
Sorry, Dad.
So
And
here's
I'm getting the impression we're going with the backup.
So here's the perfect example. As I'm doing these fade outs, there's these 2 guards standing at the top of the stairs. If you briefly saw, one of them looked at me, and then we faded out, and now they're just gone. We kind of, what do we call that? We just made them disappear. Or destroyed them. They're just 1s and 0s, right? They're like the animals. Kill the animals, save the frames.
It's guards. That's way more understandable. Anyway, this is a really good example of actually how forgiving Chrono Trigger is as a speed run. We knew we wanted to come in here with a very specific RNG. We didn't keep it on the way here, but we have alternative options to keep going, and it's actually not going to change the rest of the game for us.
It honestly doesn't really change this fight for us, even. No, I need the second heal. Come on. Thank you. Fire Whirl.
The biggest difference between the strategy we wanted to use and the one we're using now is that the on-RNG strat actually kills the Dragon Tank head first, and as you can see, it's healing all of the body parts, which means by going for it last, in this case, it's going to cost a bit of time just trying to get ahead of the damage that it's healing. That's the only time loss in this case.
So, we will need to remember in one of the next boss fights, and I think the Masamune is going to be the best example of inputs during animations, because I can't do it very well during this. should be the end of the fight. Now we just hold our attack button and we wait till the boss is done. So this is another really good time, Jay, or anyone, whoever's doing so, to read donations. We have probably about 2 minutes till we really need to start discussing what's going on again.
Hello, everybody. So there haven't been any donations since the last time I spoke, but I want to update everyone that we are $30 away from $5,900, which is pretty incredible. If we reach any goal by the end of the night, I think that would be a pretty good mini goal. We are also, if I look at the donation incentives, 2 of which are going to be incredibly important for, or 4 of which, well, 2 of which that are still open that are going to be really important for tomorrow. We have the save and kill, 2 save and kills for both the 3:05 p.m. race, run Beeps, the Super Metroid low ice X ice, low percent X ice, and the Thrag versus Swap Space random percent speed race. It's going to be 20 to 59%, 60 to 95%, and 95 to 134%. 95 to 134% is winning $58 to $8, and they also have save kill as well. We also have Hero 82 doing whip only. That was a $150 incentive that was met, and I will talk more about the Celeste Side A race. We reached our $500 incentive to race the entire Side A to completion. It's a race between Seneth and I. I'll talk more about that, how that's going to look later. Back to you guys.
So this is the kind of the next part where we're breaking out of jail, and we kind of run from the cops, the guards, everybody, and they kind of block us off from being able to go back to the main town. So as we run through the woods, we find another warp hole where the princess basically goes, it doesn't matter where we end up, anywhere is going to be better than where we're at now. And then we come to this area that is completely metal 2nd century? What would you say, Era?
It's the literal start of the 23rd century? No, 22nd? Is that how that works?
22nd, yeah.
24th. No, 24th. It works the other way. 0 to 100 is the 1st century. This is the 24th century of their time. Fate's doing this cool thing right now where by having text boxes open when he runs into these rats, the rats try to take something from you, and it's buffering a second text box. And this actually allows us to run right through most encounter triggers.
Most.
RNG.
Most. I'm so glad that I was already off RNG, so I took an extra fight and I lost $500. $1,000. We're off to a fantastic start for my wallet, both in and out of game.
Always need to run directly into an enemy. It shouldn't actually trigger the fight because it's busy loading the text box. But Fate's showing exactly what can go wrong, and this is almost equally valuable.
Oh, it's not me showing what's going wrong. It's showing, like, if you pick up the game, these are the things that you want to look out for being able to do. You want to make sure that you're not running into these fights, and so if I show you where all the triggers are, we're completely safe, and then I'm a good teacher again. taken after Jay with teaching people. Not that Jay doesn't teach people, that I'm a teacher. Anyway, we're coming up on the room where the entire point of us changing our buttons at the very beginning of the game comes in. You want to explain this one, Era?
Actually, I've been itching, and I feel like I could have got started sooner. There's supposed to be a boss fight in that room we just entered here. We're going to be doing a fade out. And this is going to allow us, as in some other cases, to completely skip the boss that's here. We get to a point in the room where it would trigger the fight, except it's going to suck us right out of the room, and then that fight is just done. But one of the weird little gimmicks, and I don't think there's anywhere else where it comes up, hitting the menu button, with the default menu button, specifically X, hitting the X button on your controller, no matter what it's mapped to, in that room will start a separate fight. We don't really understand why it's programmed that way. It is incredibly bizarre, but this is the exclusive reason why we actually put our menu on Y. Just so that we can skip that boss fight. As you can imagine, skipping a boss is going to save us a great deal of time.
It's because it was a fated room, you know? You gotta face your fate on occasion. We just take the time to avoid our fate. If I mess up this rat, I'm going to cry. If I mess up this rat, I'm going to cry. Oh! Okay.
And that right there is how you make a run more exciting, folks.
So do you want to explain where the story coming up? We're going to do another fade out that skips kind of the whole reason this game exists. So, Era, do you want to give us a TLDR of why the game exists to begin with?
Well, as you know, we met a girl. We later learned she was the princess. We took her to a sideshow of our childhood friend who created a teleporting system, which is beyond anything. We went back in time, and that was weird, and then we found out that the girl we met was the princess, and then she ceased to exist because her ancestor was lost because she showed up. And this is your typical time travel interest. It's really a good way to learn it. Right here, we're learning why all of this happened. So, well after the time we live in, we come from 1000 AD. We learned that in 1999 AD, a giant turtle-like creature flies down the planet.
It is so a porcupine.
And shoots laser needles all over the planet, effectively destroying the entire ecosystem, which is why things are so bleak here. So we've learned that our world is coming to an end. Well, like any good people, these three decided that they have to find a way to stop that from happening.
And what we really find out is this area we're in now is post-apocalyptic from the porcupine that shoots laser needles.
As a shell.
Hey man, just because he's got dandruff and bad hair doesn't mean that he's not a porcupine.
I've never seen a porcupine with such bad dandruff that it had a shell. He also walks really... Look at the spawns. Turtle porcupine. It's like a creature from Avatar.
Or like a creature from Chrono Trigger.
You could say that.
Confirmed. Lavo shoots Y2K virus. I concur.
We had this discussion earlier today. If somebody back in 1995 realized that Y2K was in fact going to be the literal end of the world and not the mechanic one, kudos to them.
So at this point, we get something that's called a bike key that the mayor of this leader, old guy of this particular dome, which is the equivalent to a village or a city, used to ride when he was younger. So he gives us the key because there's lots of strong monsters. We're speedrunners. We really don't want to have to deal with them.
That's a long walk. Anyway, apparently, we're not the only bikers in 2300 at ED, because you get to meet the man. His name is also Johnny, which is super cool, but he's the man. Johnny wants to race you, Fayte. What do you think?
I think that if I don't win this, I'm definitely going to have to do some kind of donation. What are your thoughts, Era?
I'm very seriously considering how much I would pay to watch you do this again.
I mean, if it's worth it to chat, I'll definitely do it again. Well, depending on how much it's worth. But you're running out of time here, sir.
I got $10 on Johnny.
Alright, chat, do we tank it on purpose, or do we just go? Oh wait, there's a stream delay. I know that they called me Fire 9, so we're definitely gonna make them watch that long cutscene again. Because, you know, we gotta go slow when people call me Fire 9. Jay.
I was pretty sure that was your name when I met you.
Yeah, it doesn't help that I started with the Final Fantasy IX speedruns. Oh, I lost my bounces.
Is it over 1,000? It's over 1,000?
It is over 1,000.
Over 1,000! Nice over 1,000 WP, well done. We know that was the real attempt. Alright, so we have a creature name for Lavos. It is Porcupurtle.
Porcu what?
Porcupurtle.
Like porcupine turtle?
Yeah, Porcupurtle.
Alright, that is now going in as my split for the no LSS. So this is another one of those very unique rooms that we don't have to deal with or don't have to see very often. Like in the previous room with the Guardian boss that we skipped, that if you hit your menu button in that room, it calls into a fight. This particular one, if we are running, we activate a fight. So we actually will walk for a very short duration, but it's still a walk. And then incoming of the best song that I can't stand. Robo Astley.
I wish I could hear the music right now because I would sing along. I can't do that.
I would pay to make you not sing if you were going to sing. Luckily, there's no music.
I think I actually know when the cue for the music comes up. We're gonna give this a shot here. Because you know how much I appreciate you.
I don't even know anymore, man. Please. Please.
Alright, here we go.
Come on. Why are things not... Did I lose you, Era?
I'm not hitting the button. I feel so bad. I've been singing this whole time. Oh no.
Okay, so I didn't lose you. You just, like, muted yourself. Got it. Okay. I feel way better now.
But I was singing to you.
Well, remember that whole thing of I'd pay you not to sing to me? I appreciate when you let me do things for free.
Technically, I did both.
Alright, so there is... Oh,
I'm not hitting the button.
Oh, Jack.
So bad. I've been singing this whole time.
oh, I have an echo. I am sorry, guys. The echo is 100% my fault. I didn't realize the donation page would start the stream again.
Yeah, I didn't realize that to me either.
So we're gonna walk past these guys. We now have Astley with us. It was! Those were mistakes! I dropped the RNG 5 times, I picked up the 2 tabs. That's $70 right there.
Or are we catching up?
I was, because I had downtime while grooving to music.
Anyway, so you've all heard about man versus machine, but now it's man and machine versus the wonder of the world.
Give me just a second. I'm gonna keep playing, but Jack fell asleep, so I gotta go do the whole father for... Chrono died, oh no. Losing 1 tech point, that experience. Okay, we're still good. We're still okay.
Everything is fine.
Oh, I know why I died. I didn't shelter. Hey, kiddo. Go to bed. You just fell asleep.
So, how many tabs have we collected?
What?
Just the 2?
Yes, you actually fell asleep. Okay. Go finish your water. Go brush your teeth. Good night. Love you too, kiddo. Am I that boring that you fell asleep while watching me? Is that what I just heard you say?
No.
I'm pretty sure my 9-year-old just said that this stream and these commentaries are really boring when he can't hear any of it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to make it more interesting. We picked up 2 tabs.
Yeah, didn't we pick up 2 tabs?
I'm just making sure I didn't miss any.
We picked up a power tab in the forest and a power tab in the cathedral. I haven't gotten to the 3rd power tab yet. Or the 3rd tab, so... I definitely am picking up the tabs. We're picking up the tabs on students' debt for their lunches. We are covering at least 2 of them with this. Oh, I can hit 4 of them with this one, Era. This actually might be an okay fight. Oh,
So, this is a really interesting fight, where I'm not even really sure where to begin, but RNG is not what sets what we have to fight here. It's actually the in-game time on which you load the room.
You're gonna react, aren't you? Oh, Fate, buddy. You're okay to do this. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. Okay. Sorry, I did not mean to interrupt. I was watching for the counters. So, here in just a moment is probably one of the saddest scenes that I, especially when I first played this game, have ever experienced in a video game. So here in just a few moments, we're going to ask you guys to get your Bible thumps into chat, because it is 100% going to make everybody cry, and if you don't cry, you have no soul, which means you are a robot, which means, can you please tell me why Discord died today?
But Robo's my idol.
And then here we walk up to this computer that is controlling the different doors and locks in this building, and for some reason, and I'm not sure why it is, but with this game on the Super Nintendo, when you're going to put in a password, instead of having to hit the password in the correct order, if you hold down the buttons for what the password requires, it will put it in the correct order for you. So, like, that particular one, the password is Zaby. X-Y-A-B... No. X-A-B-Y. My goodness, it's... But if I hold down all 4 of the face buttons, it will automatically put it in there for me, so I never have to remember, and it does it as fast as it can.
I can't even tell you how many months I spent speedrunning this game before I learned that.
I almost forgot to heal, and that would have made me cry because that would have been a rip again. Have a good night, Try Girl. Thank you so much for hanging out and all of the support and the feedback with all of the shirts. What's up? Just a sec, kiddo.
I've got a very real issue to bring up here. Astley, when we met him, said that his name was R66-Y, and yet these other robots who look exactly like him say that their name is R67- R-67Y, R-68Y. So why is the hyphen in a different place? And does this actually mean that Astley is in fact broken, as they're saying? There's not too much to this fight when we get into it. We're going to be using Chrono to cyclone the front 3, the back 3, the back 3, the front 3. The reason why we do that is the more we leave alive after they die, the more they're going to start counterattacking and using heavier attacks. But other than that, this is a very straight fight. There's no RNG required.
Is that really the order you do it in? Front, back, back, front?
Yeah.
Really? Well then, I'm gonna prove, or I'm gonna make your comms wrong because that is not the order I do it in.
So it probably doesn't matter, is what we're learning right here.
As long as you have a, so what happens is if you kill, like let's say we defeat the front line by using Cyclone on the front row twice, so they're all defeated. When we hit the back row, because the front row is gone, they counter. So all we have to do is we hit one of the rows, and then we hit the other one twice. So then if we attack the first row a second time, they'll counter, but that's also the one where they'll die. That is the order. No! No, you do the back row first.
Execute Order 66.
Mid-tonic Chrono. Mid-tonic Chrono. Mid-tonic Chrono. I'm not talking to you, Era. I blame you for this, and I'm not sure why, but you're getting blamed for it.
Well, I think now's a good time for donations when we get back there.
It's a fantastic time.
Test. Hello, hello. All right, we got a few donations I'm going to quickly name off here. We got a $70 donation from Fayte with the message mistakes, and a $30 donation from Aurelius. $20 for the 2 tabs, 10 because Johnny is an amazing racer. Thank you guys so much for your donations. We are now only $30 away from $6,000. I never thought
really
I'd be
get the
saying
same
that.
fight twice
Truly.
in a row?
Thank you so much for all the support, guys.
This is the downsides to
And,
being
let's
red-green
finish
blind,
off
is
this
I
day
actually
1.
can't tell the difference on your screen right now. Which ones are which?
Strong. Bye-bye.
All yours, Era, because I'm marking things down that I died. Did we come up with how much we're donating if Fayte dies and wipes?
Sorry for the interruption there, Jay. We didn't, but you know what? If you were gonna donate like 25 bucks for every wipe or something, I think we could raise a lot of money for this charity.
That sounds reasonable to me. $25 for every death causing a reset. I'm good with that.
Did our series count? Is that number 1?
That was. Yeah, that was. Alright. I see how you are. I need to pay attention to what's going on, because, yeah.
I'd like to encourage you to win. We do have a bigger bet going on, or did you forget about whether or not you're going to beat my PB?
I kind of forgot. So I'm gonna restart the stream. You guys aren't gonna pay attention, and suddenly like 20 minutes are gonna come off of my timer, and it just don't worry about it. We're solid.
I'm still feeling confident. I'm okay with this. So the difference between my PB and Fayte's is only about 3 minutes. It's actually not huge. Any number of mistakes can cause that difference in time, and we started speedrunning this at the same time. Other notable members of the community also started playing around that time. Keith Ketchum, who is here with us in chat, I did see 40 rigs in there, sorry, 840 rigs in there as well. We all started approximately around the same time, and it is incredibly fun to be learning the speedrun with these guys. A lot of it is due to El Gran Jerry, who made a series of YouTube video tutorials for how to learn most of the things you're going to need to know for this run. If you like Chrono Trigger and you want to learn the speedrun, I would definitely say take a look at that. We have an amazing Discord as well. And I know everybody says this, I know a lot of communities everybody's really helpful and friendly, but honestly, I've fallen in love with this community because everybody's just so tight-knit. Those people are here, and it makes me very, very happy racing with them on a week-to-week basis, learning about all the new strats. As much as Defeat Magus, which we're doing right now, has a strong base in both any percent and any percent no LSS, like, what you're doing for both of those runs is incredibly similar most of the way through. There have been huge changes. We've learned about save corruption, which I'm not going to go into. I'm going to mention it. I want to make you interested. We've learned a whole thing about editing our save files based on when we reset the game. And it has taken things to a whole new level. This remains a bit simpler. If you like doing things without the huge difficult to reproduce glitches, these are the categories for you. Defeat Magus being, again, about 70% of the run. Any percent no LSS and any percent LSS are both approximately the same time. It only changes whether or not you skip the end of the game gauntlet. Okay, we're safe.
Yeah, I got scared there for a moment, not gonna lie.
Or if it was one animation behind and there were 2 tackles, you never know what's gonna happen. I'm very happy we're safe. The inputs for this fight are fairly tight. There are worse positions to be in, but you do have to be both quick and careful. Alright, Fayte, what is your favorite part about this entire game?
Okay, so when you say part, are we talking story? Are we talking music? Are we talking like the whole encompassing thing? How far do you want us to break it down? Because I've got an answer for like every single category.
Let's do 2 of those. I was gonna say my favorite music is probably Shala's theme. What's yours?
The People Without a Hope.
Which is the one that we passed?
It's the one when we're talking to Doan.
Not too long ago. What about your favorite story part? What is your favorite part about this?
The echo again. Stop doing that. Okay, so when you say part, are we talking story? I hate the sound of my own voice.
We love your voice. No problem there.
Alright, this is another good time for, since I see that there's a donation train, this is another really good time for it.
Yes, hello everybody. And we do have a few donations that I want to read off before we get going here. I see we had Double Rumble 79 with a $10 donation. Their message was a smiley face. Do we have any smilers in chat? We also had a $25 donation from Fayte for the message was death number 1. And that's it for now. We just surpassed. And can we get a PogChamp train? Words. Can we get a PogChamp train for passing $6,000? Thank you so much, guys. This is going to be unbelievable. Let's continue the hype. All right, back to you guys.
Alright, so this is a really fun spot where, at the end of time, let me restart that whole thing. The game does a fantastic job of explaining why you can only have 3 members in your party. When we stepped into that last portal, we had 4 of us, and the portal kind of tweaked out and had some issues. We get sent to the end of time, and we meet this gentleman who tells us that, the time flux, more or less, can't handle that many different lives. So we leave someone at the end of time. And then he sends us to come back and talk to this frog. This frog, being the master of war...
But he doesn't look tough at all.
He looks plenty strong. That's why we answer that he's strong. He ends up recognizing that we have the ability to cast magic with us. So... we tell him that, okay, we want to learn. Like, you're going to teach me magic? Yes, please. Can we please? Come on, magic, damage, you know. And so he does this really weird thing where he goes, okay, walk around the room 3 times whispering magic. Or praying magic. Chanting magic. Being magic. Be one with the magic. And so we kind of do that, except the way that the game has been programmed is it only checks on the corners of the room in order to make sure that you've actually, quote-unquote, gone around for it.
And the door.
And the door. And so, normally, we won't do this particular fight, but he ends up giving us a magic tab, which means Era owes another $10.
Kind of saw this coming. I mean, it was worth it just to watch you fight Specky. We didn't need to do that. We did not need to fight Specchio.
It's money, and it allows me to not get punished for mistakes we so needed to.
It's money, and it's more Chrono Trigger, and that's what I'm here for. I mean, kids having lunches is actually pretty amazing, but Chrono Trigger is also amazing.
So here we're stepping up to do the cake glitch. Do you know it well enough to explain it?
These are more menu shenanigans, except instead of going into the menu you've been looking at, we can now go into our party switching menu. And this gives us the ability to move before we're supposed to be able to, because we have that option, and we're coming back into the screen. It's not locking us in place, and since we're not there eating the cake, going through the animation of eating the cake, we get to keep moving, and we just leave. Instead of listening to the story about what happened 400 years ago in the town of Medina, we're more interested in getting on with the room.
And so at this point, we talk to these white buckets of light, which we're told are basically the equivalent of those blue portals that we keep stepping into. And we find one that goes to 1000 AD, which is the time frame where we're from. Except when we step into it, it doesn't take us to the fair, it takes us to a whole nother continent. This continent is where all of the descendants of the Fiend Lord? Uh-oh.
Yep. Yeah. Well, not really descendants of the Fiend Lord, but they are the Fiend descendants who were ruled by the Fiend Lord.
Is it the remakes that just give him his name instead of calling him Fiend Lord? It must be.
I'm fairly certain both. I think it's just been a long time since we actually read those text boxes. Who reads text boxes? That's what mashing is for.
Jay probably reads them because we know he goes really slow. Anyway, this is where we do another thing where we're fading out across one of the battle triggers. You can hear the music start because we triggered it, but again, the load screen trumps it. And coming up, we are going to be doing there's another $10 because I love.
It's not.
No, it's not, but it is definitely a mistake. I can't allow myself to go without being punished for that mistake. It's literally walk up the room on the right side to avoid the fight. So this is one of the fade outs and the loads that I'm not familiar with how it works, especially with the new setup that you guys have shown me. So by all means, how does this one work, Era?
This is very similar to our setup for skipping Yakra. We're going to be doing a save on top of where the trigger actually occurs. It's a little bit different after the fact. Instead of going down to talk to Lean, we actually have to go up and then come back down so that we load the post-fight cutscene in which Heckran tells us that effectively we're never going to win, is kind of his point. So the ending of it is a little bit different, but the concept is the same. We want to trigger the fight while we're saving and quitting the game, and then when we come back, we just need to trigger the cutscene that says, yeah, we actually did this.
And then we go rub his belly, and then we go hit the trigger. I don't understand why rubbing his belly works, but apparently he's got this don't touch me here square, and so when we touch him, he kind of tries to run away. Well, when he runs away, and then we go start the fight when he's already ran away, we kind of beat him twice, and that sets the flag to tell us that the story can continue forward. And this is where we learn that Magus is the one who brought Lavos. So, guess who we're gonna go kind of kick their butt for?
Well, we definitely want to stop Lavos, so, I mean, if Magus...
Yeah, if Lavos is because of Magus, let's kind of go kick his butt. I did it again, Era. I forgot half of that menu. So this is the end of time save anywhere. This is one of my favorite save anywhere glitches. because this one actually has quite a bit of a setup. So, in this game, there are things called breakaways, where you can make it so your allies are further away from you than they normally would be. And when a text box closes, we can open our menu, and now we can keep it up longer than we're supposed to. Step on a portal, now we have the text box that's in front of us, along with the one that is belonging to the portal. The E is not a good one, the N is a good one. Or I just can't do it. Go ahead and continue with that one, Era. I gotta go make the correction. And that's a 45-second loss because I can't hit buttons.
Well, it's not just about you being able to hit buttons.
No, I forgot to open the menu.
It has this funny tendency, and even I'm not 100% sure why it happens this way, but it's... the breakaway is a specific part of it. We talk to the old man, we open our menu when his text box closes, which reopens the text box, we queue up the text box, we're trying to travel to a different era. We come back, we try to interact with the bucket to heal us, and we hear the sound, but you're not always able to open your menu here.
And the reason for that is the breakaway. It takes time for your characters to line up and be standing on top of each other before they can zip away towards that particular location.
1995 for Chrono Trigger.
And because of that, when we're opening the two text boxes, it does a very similar thing to how the cake dash that Era was telling us about earlier happens. So, in the middle of the two text boxes, while our party is trying to group up with us, we swap their locations, which gives us the ability to move again, and then we try to run down and stand on the save point. Because the screen transitions while we're standing on a save point, we now have a save anywhere. I don't know if we had covered it before, but the save anywhere only lasts until we hit a screen that also has a save point. Because the game constantly thinks that you were standing on that save point because you were when you transitioned. But as soon as you touch a screen that has a save point on it, the game kind of goes, wait a second, Fayte's trying to cheat again. That's a no-go. You weren't standing on a save point. The save point's over here. And we lose that ability.
Something about the game suddenly realizes that you are in fact not standing on a save point for the last 40 minutes.
Hey, Era, my friend, pal.
Oh, is that another tab?
It is another tab. And some jerky. Which, the jerky, we might want to go try and, donate to the kids who deserve to eat.
Really nice jerky. It costs 9,800 gold per piece of jerky?
Jay was 2 years old when this game released. I suddenly feel really old, Jay. Hashtag unsub, unfollow.
If you unsub from Jay because you're older than he is, that means I have to unsub from you.
I mean, you do you, Haas.
Fair, I don't mind that people are younger than me. You got a good point.
Oh. So this is another one of those... we want to save on the other side of a text queue. There we go, I got it.
Hard to save in the game. This bridge is actually a back-to-back series of saving on top of a trigger.
I got the second one first try, though. So this should be a very good green split for me. I'm up 50 seconds. 48.8 seconds. Now, here we are coming up on the very first time in this run where we are pretty much required to stay on RNG. And it's because we know where the crits are, how this... Go ahead, Era.
It would not be a stretch at all to say that This is the first unforgiving section of the entire run. Not just defeat Magus, but the full any percent LSS or no LSS runs. This is the first real gatekeeper for speedrunners. First, you have to know exactly when to load your save, which happens to be within a fraction of a second from when it would show your save files. You don't even want to see the screen at all, ideally.
Yeah. For
Get
my
in this first fight, you have a couple of different options as to how your RNG can progress based on when you loaded the file. And so two strats to learn for this particular fight. It's not horrible. But then you still have to know where every other encounter tile in the rest of this mountain is, because it's too difficult and time-consuming, more importantly, to take on the boss of this area without being on the right script.
Yep. So if we hit any kind of encounter whatsoever, we restart at the bottom of the mountain, because there's nowhere for us to put ourselves back on RNG. There is a save point up here, but there's no... We might be able to do it with a task to get on the exact value we need. Chrono Trigger is one of those unique games where the RNG is set into windows. Point A to point C, this action is going to happen. Point D to point Q, this action happens. But on that A to C, on B, you will always hit a critical hit kind of a deal. So we need to be on a very specific... Ooh! Hey, Era, there's another tab right here, because the mountains are really nice.
Mountains are nice. But you're really nosy.
Well, then maybe we should donate some more to All Kids Deserve to Eat, because I'm so nosy.
You really think that we should?
I think that if we don't, I'm going to have to, like, reclimb the mountain.
Wait, is that another tab?
Oh, I forgot that one. That was just muscle memory to get that one. Okay, yeah.
I'm glad you didn't skip it.
I would not be able to skip that one. Because we need enough speed as well to get turns in while we're fighting the boss. So on this first section... Whoops. I actually need a second round. Ouch. Scare away that bird. So on this first set, this is going to be two bosses back to back that are related to each other. So we need everything to hit on the left enemy, because if we drop one of their HPs to 0, the fight ends. So if we can target one of them, and we're on the right RNG so we know where our berserking Chrono will hit, we can keep our damage rolls on the correct person, along with shifting the crits where we want them to.
This is extra important because only of these two brothers will counterattack you for hitting them.
And this is pretty tight, so go ahead, Era, I'm going to move headphones.
So not so much is going to happen here. Chrono attacked, we get hit once, we're going to cast fire, we're going to attack, it's going to hit us again. Chrono's going to lay the beat down, and we'll very quickly shift into the next part of this boss mini gauntlet. Luca's going to finish with a fire. Anyway, you can probably see what's happening here. There was a sword in the background, and these two brothers here, twins if you will, are named Masa and Mune. And it's a very classical sword, the Masamune, that we're trying to fix right now.
And now we get to play ping pong.
Two little brothers transform into one giant colored Hulk.
So this is the perfect time to explain that the ATB bar, it progresses forward as the... Oh my goodness, I will learn to talk. The turns are based on the ATB. When we're in the menu, because we picked the wait ATB, or the wait, when we're in our menus, the ATB will not progress forward, and it also does not progress forward during animations. So if we input our commands during an animation, we don't actually lose time in the turn order.
except for very unique circumstances. One of which is here, which is why I think he's bringing it up.
Okay, yeah, we're good.
Something can go wrong in this fight where Astley, in this case, Robo, can be a little bit behind on his ATB bar compared to normal. That's entirely based on how accurate you are with your inputs, making sure everything gets in on time. But if he's too far behind, Massive Moon can take that advantage on you and just wipe your party straight out. Because of the way that the ATB works and the way that animations finish, there's a very, very brief period of time in which enemy animations will still continue, and because Masa and Moon are constantly walking from side to side, as ping pong normally goes, he can be just far enough away that our attacks will be countered. Not that you saw any counterattacks there, and this is why Fayte called it ping pong, is it can't counterattack you unless it's close enough to the person that's doing the damage.
That was a 2-minute save era.
Good. That means you're that much closer to trying to beat my PB.
Which means I'm gonna win this bet.
34 minutes to go. Good luck.
I don't need luck, I'm Fayte.
This is true. It would be Fayte.
I had the headphones off. Did you talk about the sword being broken?
I did say we're gonna fix it, and the fact that it's the Masamune.
So, we come to find out that the brothers are the souls, for lack of better term at the current moment, because it's starting to get late, of the Masamune sword. They've been broken in half. And so, because they're broken in half, they want us to go fix them so they can be joined together, because, as you saw, separate they're little tiny kids that deserve to eat, and when they're when they're together, they're a gigantic Goron that protects everybody. This is my menu. Go ahead, Era.
So, we earlier talked about the unequipped glitch, which allowed us to take equipment off of our characters, which significantly boosted their magic defense to 3 of the 4 elements and boosted their magic attack. We hadn't got around to doing that for all of our characters yet, and that's what we're doing now. So we're taking off a couple of pieces, we're selling off all of our extra stuff so that we can do it again, take equipment off of another one of our characters, and then we're gonna, again, go back into the shop and sell off those pieces as well so we can do the same thing in a little bit. Plus we can take this time to buy ourselves some items we might need, like more mid-tonics than we'll need for the rest of the entire run, same with revives and shelters. And shelters are especially helpful because when we have save anywhere, we can sleep anywhere.
And I need to make sure that we bring the party girl into our party. Coming up, there is a big festivity that we get to join in. And 2020 likes to party a little too much, as I'm sure we all can relate to this year. So, hey, Era, that's
No! How do we not have a new incentive?
I don't know. I did not anticipate that whatsoever. We are new blessed. I know what I'm doing for a new, and we're gonna wait till after the stream because there's another chance for us to get a new. So, what were we talking about? There was a new, and I lost completely.
2020, the party girl.
Oh!
I am blown away by new right now.
So, 2020 girl likes to party a little too much. We're getting invited to some festivities. But because she likes to party too much, she wants to go dancing. And we're speedrunners. If we take the time to go dancing, we're just going to be slow. So, we're going to take her with us to have a shorter conversation here, because she can read English a lot better than the robot from the future can, apparently. And then... And then as we come up... Oh, no 2 news. As we come back, we will remove her because she likes to party too much, and we're gonna bring that robot because nobody invited robots to parties when he was younger, and that's just rude. So we definitely gotta have Astley with us because, you know, we can't ever give up on him. So this time, we're actually going to take this fight instead of saving over it, because we don't have a save anywhere anymore. I don't believe you. I ran fast enough. You're rude. So rude.
And wait, you did. You did. You lost RNG again.
Wait, no. Oh, no! Oh, I lost RNG again. Rip. Good, bad call, Era. Thank you, I think. Anyway, as we'll continue on. At this point, we now have both halves of the sword. We have the half of the blade, and we have a hilt on it. The hilt happens to have the name Melchior engraved on it. We happen to know Melchior from the festival we were just at. We find out, if we were to go talk to everybody, that Melchior lives over on the side of the island or side of the world where all the mystics live. So, we also know, and I'm sure all of you guys can relate to and understand, that old people like Era and I like to talk a little bit too much. So, we fade out. We do fade outs, and just like we do with the fights and everything, we start a conversation, the transition takes effect, so as the old man's talking, we just kind of walk out on him, but we set the flag so we don't actually have to listen to him telling us that we need this stone from a long, long, long time ago. At the end of time, we happen to have a portal to 65 million BC. That might be far enough back. What do you think, Era? I think Era may be mad at me for calling him old again. But suddenly, we have a lot of raptors and dinosaurs, and this is not what I expected. I probably should have, though.
65 million years is a very round number that I think most people can relate to. I imagine Melchior talking is every time you're in the room with your grandparents and they start talking about how things were back in the 50s.
I used to walk uphill both ways to school.
Yeah, so you just turn around and leave, but when you come back, they still want to talk to you, so they just move on to another topic. That's what Melchior does.
Alright, Era. Do I do the one thing or do I do the other thing to make chat happy?
I like making chat happy.
I think we should ask chat. Which way do we go? Do we go left or do we go right? Do we pay tribute to the Chrono Trigger community? Or do we pay tribute to all kids deserve to eat? What are you thinking, Era?
I mean, I kind of want to say save the frames, but, you know, Jerry's just too important to us. So, we have Jiri in the party.
Huh. Well,
Alcran Jiri has made an awful lot of contributions to the Chrono Trigger community. Yes, it's Jerry, not Jiri. I feel like that earns at least another mistake.
yeah, I already marked it down.
Jerry has contributed an awful lot when it comes to making sure that everybody has access to, like, a route for the entire game, start to finish.
And I had talked about not bringing the party girl to the party, and I almost brought her to the party. Yes, Keith, I know. I did amazing, didn't I? Although, I was really tempted...
Cheer him, Keith.
I was really tempted to do Fire 9, but I just felt like that was a little a little too much in Jay's favor. Is there a point in me grabbing RNG again for Nisbel? No, there's not. Okay.
Probably not. This time we're gonna save the frames.
Yeah.
This is an incredibly difficult section to actually keep on RNG, but we don't really need to because the next boss, he happens to get stun locked whenever you hit him with electricity, and we have access to that. We have lightning with all kids deserve to eat, and he then releases said lightning, but that's one of those things we don't really take damage from anymore thanks to the unequip glitch, so we really just attack him till he's down. It's a bit faster if we stay on RNG. There's a couple of different options, but resetting it takes time, so we don't really need to do that. But for now, we're going to drink lots and lots of soup. Don't you like soup, Fayte?
Yes, I really like soup. It's totally soup we're drinking because this is a family-friendly channel. So why would we drink anything but soup?
And those are really big bowls of soup. 3, 4, 5 bowls of soup, 6 bowls of soup, 7 bowls of soup. Man, that's a lot of soup.
Well, and this is what we're raising money for, is to help kids feel like they can eat as much as they feel they need so that they don't have to worry about being hungry, they can enjoy themselves, they can focus on the learning, and they can focus on furthering their, or building up their futures.
Well, if there's a school where I can learn to drink soup as fast as Chrono does, sign me up.
Why, there is. It's all over twitch.tv. Okay, I thought that was funnier than it was, sorry. Alright, so we're gonna go tell Jiri that, because recently, or when we woke up, we find out that we were stolen from. We were robbed, that's what it is. We were robbed from, or with, words are hard.
The gate key we used to travel through time is suddenly missing. Unfortunately, we slept a little too hard because we filled up on way too much soup. So now we need to go find out where our gate key went. This right here is another amazing example of why fade outs are great for skipping text and cutscenes and bosses, is because this guy here, his name is Kino, and he really likes to talk.
And he has
unfortunately,
a big crush on Jiri.
We have to get back to the future, so we don't have time for that.
So we decide that, you know, we understand that it's your fault that we were robbed because you kind of took it from us. Or led the bad guys and the reptiles and stuff to us because you thought you were a strong man, but you're not the village chief. Jiri's the village chief. So, you know, can't we just, like, leave well enough alone?
Hey, that whole area you walked through, it didn't have a single encounter. That was weird.
It was a fated decision to path that way. I have no idea where those non-random random encounters are.
Yet not standing on the footprint seemed like a pretty good idea to me. You wouldn't want to disturb those tracks. All of them actually indicate where most of the encounters in that area are, and by simply going out of the way, it's quite simple to skip most of them. There are a couple you could land on anyways, but for the most part, they're pretty straightforward.
I was already off RNG, correct? Was I already off RNG?
Yes, you were already off RNG, don't worry.
Okay. I was like, did I really just
though.
drop it again? Oh, I didn't save, I just used the shelter. I was just meaning because if I hadn't dropped RNG, I just did there again, but if I'm not on it, I can't drop it.
I could lie to you if it makes you feel better, but I'm a little bit too honest for that. Just like Chrono in the trial, I can't help myself.
But you wouldn't lie to, Twitch chat wouldn't lie to me, would they?
Of course they wouldn't lie to you. It's Twitch chat. This is a good stream.
That's why we were able to trust Twitch chat today during the literally blindfolded level head run. Because they were 100% trustworthy. I almost got in that fight again.
Just take a second to say how impressive blindfolded runs are, and that is absolutely amazing.
Well, they covered their screen and they had to watch Twitch chat to figure out where stuff was.
When's blindfolded Chrono Trigger, you think?
No.
Alright folks, you heard it here first. Blindfolded Chrono Trigger is just no. Alright, Chrono falling asleep, taking a bit of damage because we're already off RNG isn't a big deal here. We are gonna heal up, and you get to see Nizbel. This is the lightning stun boss that we were talking about, and you're gonna see just what we were talking about in a moment. It practically plays itself.
I'm actually not gonna worry about healing. We're good. Have I met Twitch chat? Why no? Because for me, most of Twitch chat is ones and zeros. You know, like, I just look over and I see a bunch of red, purple, and blue names, and then someone named Red, and then I look over at my times and I see a bunch of red, and then I look over and I see Era's name. Like,
And
it's
then
just
he
all ones and
groans.
zeros. Well, yeah, because I know you're never going to give up on me.
And I'm definitely never gonna let you down. So the next few moments are really just hitting it with our best attacks until it just kind of burns itself out. I think this would be a good time for donations, don't you?
I do indeed. Apparently Jay does not think it's a good time, though.
Hello, can you hear me?
Or I'm not delayed.
Test. Okay. Wow. Let me just step in here right quick. So, first and foremost, let me catch up from a couple things ago. We had a... Okay, no, I was already caught up. Truly, I don't know if you guys just saw that, but this was truly one of the coolest things I've ever seen. $1,000 from the community that Cardinal Redbird is a part of. I'm blown away. If you would have asked me at the beginning of this day if we would be at $7,000, I would have said, no, you're cray cray. There's just no way. This is like the amount of good this is going to do for so many. Like, it's not even just about like the kids, even like this is the families of these kids. Like, you're talking about the children, the siblings, the parents, the grandparents. It extends far beyond into the community. It extends so much farther than just the kids' account. And so like that is Like, look at this number, guys. $7,000 is it's mind blowing, and this just goes to show what small communities can do for each other, right? We're all so small, but we're working together in all these communities coming together to do this. It's the first day, and we're already over halfway to our goal that honestly I would have never expected. Our original goal, I never actually mentioned this. Our original goal when we first started this marathon was $2,500. $2,500 is the average debt a school faces across the country. So I thought that would be a really good goal to start with, right? But when we completely shattered that goal, we decided to go with 13,000, and this is insane. Truly, Cardinal Redbird, this is pretty. I'm honestly speechless. I can't even describe like the words. I don't have words. All right, so I just thank you. Truly, your entire community, everyone, everyone in Cardinal Redbird's community, thank you, and thank you, Cardinal Redbird, truly, and thank you to everyone else who we've raised over. We've raised almost $4,000 today. That's just I can't. It's just crazy. I don't. Just to confirm, did Fate pause his run or did it crash on stream? I think maybe the whole stream has caught fire because of that insane dono. This crazy. This is crazy. I paused specifically for this donut. Okay, awesome. Okay, so like truly, can we just like tag Cardinal and just with a heart? Just tag Cardinal and give a heart to show your love. And honestly, go drop them a follow because that right there is beautiful. And they deserve your support for the support that they've shown us today. And I'm just speechless. This is crazy. This is crazy. Right there. All right. Sorry to Fate for pausing their run when they were going for a PB, but thank you. I do appreciate you pausing to what a great way to end day one, guys. Like, oh my gosh, this is so great. Okay. We're gonna continue on with the final moments of Chrono Trigger here, and we're gonna continue. We're not done yet. Nope, we're not done yet. We're gonna get the final moments of Chrono Trigger. We're going to vibe. We're going to continue. Let me update this Kids Fed. Let's update this real quick. 7,005 divided by 42, which is the average debt per student at this school. That's 166 students fed. That's incredible. All right. Love you guys. I'm going to throw it back over to Fate and Airless. They're going to be finishing off this run. And I'm going to go cuddle my cats because I'm a mess. Have a great night, guys.
Oh my goodness, man. I cannot believe that. I forgot where I was completely in this script, except releasing electricity. I am so glad we decided to stop right there. Thank you so much for your guys' support. That's insane.
Agreed. Huge thank yous to Cardinal Redbird for that. That was incredible. $1,000 is obviously blowing everybody away. I don't mind stopping for that at all. It is incredible. Thank you so much.
I do gotta say though, Era, I do believe this is an unfair way for you to win the bet on whether or not I can beat your PB.
Do you want to tell them what that means for the charity?
I mean, we can talk about the $200 donation, sure. But, I mean, it makes me sad. It was going to be really nice, but because I lose this wager, we are donating, the community of mine is donating $200 towards All Kids Deserve to Eat.
I do want to throw out a thank you to Jay and everybody else who helped put this together. I do appreciate being here, especially for moments like that. Honestly, it's brings a bit of a tear to my eye. I'm a little bit lost for words. Honestly, it's amazing to see what communities can do. Really, I've watched a lot of GDQs, and it was its own kind of thing. But seeing what people will do, pulling together without a decade of background, it's incredible.
Okay, I'm resetting RNG here, so now I actually gotta pay attention if I can keep it.
On topic, worth pointing out. Okay, this is the shortest reload we can do to keep RNG for what's going to be, ideally, the rest of the game. So this should be the last time that we have to reset. Fingers crossed for that. Unless we want Fayte to donate more money, in which case, you know, failures would be good.
I blame you for jinxing me on that one.
Was that technically an RNG loss? I mean,
Oh,
like,
yes.
I know it wasn't a wipe, but
It very much was.
well, at least you saved.
Alright, let's try this again, where I remember to menu while we're trying to run away.
So we never mentioned this, but the game has a very basic mechanic in which, like a lot of other JRPGs, especially from this time, when you're holding the run buttons, in this case, like most, the L and R, the shoulders, it kind of builds up a background timer / fill bar to see how long you've been trying to run for. And once that's full, it allows you to run. Funny thing is, it builds up while you're in menus, even though we're on a wait command style. So by holding our LR buttons while we're in our menu in a fight, we can just build up that run counter. So any fight that's runnable, we don't actually have to take damage or anything. As soon as we have somebody with a full ATB, we enter it, wait out the run timer, which obviously we've learned approximately how long it is, and we run. Alright, now that we've recovered our gate key from prehistory, and we've got this wonderful giant red rock called the Dreamstone, we're revisiting Valkyr because we know his history with the Masamune, and we'd like to ask him to fix it for us. Except he wants to launch into some really long dialogue about why he's going to fix it for us, what kind of implications that has. So we're going to leave the room again while he's doing that, and then we're just going to go fix it instead.
And the Chrono Trigger has one of the most unique kind of oddities features that I've gotten to experience, where if you walk into an NPC as they're working on doing their animations, it actually speeds up their animations. So that's where you'll see me like pushing into them constantly for the different events.
There's a very small example of this very early on, when we're semi-triggering the Yakra fight, in which, while he's transforming, if you bump into him, it can actually speed up the transformation. In the cutscene of fixing the Masamune is a much better example of that. It's a little bit weird. It kind of interrupts their animation in a sense and forces them to move on, despite the fact that it's several consecutive animations.
Alright, so here's going to be, in this particular run, the last time we do the bird skip, and our last time to attempt to get 2 more news. News are kind of a novelty in Chrono Trigger. The mythology and stuff is that the world started with new, and it will end with new. The news are a very rare breed of creatures, so when you can get them to show up in your games, it's considered new blessed. You can get, there's a chance for having up to 4 news show up. We've had 1. What are the chances of getting 2 and 3, do you think, Era?
Well, I'm gonna say about 1 in 8 for the first one, and I believe. Oh my god, it's new! 100%. I think the odds are 100% that we get a second new.
So, if we've got them, Jay, this is a really good time for any kind of donations or any kind of announcements. We have about 9 minutes worth of dialogue that I just have to mash through. Maybe is it 9 minutes or is it? I think it's 4 minutes.
It's
and
about
5 minutes. Is it 2 and 3?
It's about 5. Yeah, it's about 5.
It's forever.
Alright, so we're about all caught up on the donation front, which is understandable because we are all still reeling from Colonel's $1,000 donation. I too could probably talk about that for a while. If I try to pick up from where I was, we were talking about the odds of finding another new. Keith's here, so he might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly certain out of the 4 times that we have a chance of running into a new, it's 1 in 8, 1 in 8, 1 in 8, and then I believe it was 1 in 4 for the last. And when you add all those together, we can talk about the dream new run, which is the very, very mild odds of getting 4 news in a single run. And I think there's been only 2 occasions where the world record holding run has had 4 news, and it's been a while since we had one of those. I mean, these cutscenes we're watching right now is kind of a background story for a frog and explaining how he became to be a frog in the first place. He had this very good friend, Cyrus, who helped him out from a very young age to the point where they talked about enlisting as knights together. And Glenn explains that he never really believed that he'd have it in him to raise up his sword against another person. But Cyrus dies fighting Magus and tries to sacrifice himself to save Glenn, which is Frog's original name. but instead of escaping, Glenn gets turned into a frog, and that kind of catches up his form. And this is why he's so interested in going up against Magus. He wants to avenge his friend Cyrus and do right by the kingdom. Because as much as he never really reached that status, he's a true knight at heart. Coming up after these cutscenes are done, which is in about another minute or so, we're going to be entering what's going to be effectively the gauntlet for the end of this run, Defeat Magus. Right after we enter the castle, we've got a couple of encounters, a boss fight, one more encounter, another boss fight, and then close to another dozen encounters, I think? I'm trying to do the math off the top of my head here. I want to say it's like 9, if we're going correctly, before we do another pseudo-boss fight, followed by Magus, where it's all going to end. Now, ideally, we want to do the whole string on the same RNG. We don't want to have to fix this at all. There's a couple of places where it can go wrong and we can fix it later, but at least for these 2 boss fights, everything has to be done just about perfectly. Otherwise, there's no way at these low levels that we can actually progress.
Alright, sorry about disappearing like that. I was trying to get some last minute things taken care of. Such as, you know, that, because all of the hype. 19, okay, we're still on RNG, good. No, it's going toward... If I get to put that towards something, it is definitely... There goes the RNG. Oh, it's definitely going towards save the frames, kill the animals. Save the frames, kill the animals. No questions, no hesitation. Get out of my way, you rat finks. So we're gonna save here, and I'm gonna do the reload after these cutscenes.
We're gonna save here, and we're always going to save the animals.
We are not.
Someone has to stick up for the animals.
Look, we already saved Frog, who is an animal.
Exactly. So let's save all of the frogs.
I've done my part, though. Now we get to save the frames.
You can't just save one animal and choose not to save the other animals. If you're a good person, you'll save all of the animals.
Excuse me, sir. First off, My name is Fayte. If you think I'm a good person, there's a problem. Second
I'm
off...
thinking long-term fate.
I don't know. This is gonna stop making me call you Fire 9. Oh.
See, Lady Chalky's with me. It's save the animals, or it's nothing at all. I always save the animals.
Nope. Every time it comes up, it is definitely save the frames. That's true, Poplars. It's an amphibian. So, I don't save any animals, so we're good. I don't even save our cats from getting thrown through time.
You didn't save the animal, and therefore you have not done your part. Save the animals.
This is a 10 count? 10?
Yes, it's a 10
okay.
count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do you want to explain that while I...
This is one of the more difficult setups for getting on the correct RNG. Way earlier, we talked once, very briefly, about what a double bright was, and that was half of a second, approximately. This is several seconds, and we actually do it by a couple of different methods. Some people actually use a metronome. A lot of people, myself included, we actually use a GIF. That's right, it's called a GIF on the wiki notes for the speedrun, which includes a little shot of Ayla dancing from one side to the other. And when we're counting like that, it's the different ticks in the animation that we're looking at. Just to make sure that we have a more consistent way of getting a good RNG. And in fact, Fate's so confident about it right now, he's gonna go save. So he doesn't have to go into the 2 different rooms again.
No,
And were you not confident? You reset.
I dropped RNG, and so that's why I went to go reset.
Oh, I guess I missed the Fate entirely.
Yeah. I dropped it.
Oh. Some of these are timed to a very specific point. There's another backup that we have just before Magus that has also caused a little bit of grief when you're in that process of trying to learn that period. Once you've done it a few times, I mean, honestly, you're more likely to just reach that area on RNG, but you can kind of learn what you need to do. You get a feel for it. I don't know if you know what I mean, but the more you do it, the better you feel about getting that period. A lot of it's muscle memory. I think that just makes sense.
This is my, one break of the game here in just a moment. I'm gonna go refill my water once this fight starts. So, this is also another good chance to argue over save the animals, or everyone knows the correct answer, saving the frames. Era, did you save the animals, or did you kill the animals?
That's just confirmed. I will always save the animals. The animals deserve somebody to stand up for them, and I'm gonna be that person.
I'm sorry, I need to go into my chat and unmod you really quick. I'll be right back.
Well, I'm just gonna have to unsub while you're at it. Be right back. No, it's funny. Fate jokes about having this chance to actually just step away and fill his water, but this is, quite honestly, as much as it is a boss fight, as advertised, the moment where you can just do whatever you need to do for the next minute or so. It's been a lot of jokes about this over the time, and I'm glad Keith's here, because this used to be called the Keith break, as far as I was concerned. He did have this tendency to just sort of step away and take a break. And the reason this happens is that Frog's speed is exactly the same as this boss's fleet. They move at the same rate, and because Frog has a Berserker equipped, he's taking his action as soon as he possibly can. And that means there's no loss of time for our inputs. And when Flea goes and tries to do something after the initial attack, Flea instead does nothing because Frog's too busy spending that time. So this is our break, and it's right at the end of this approximately 3/4 of the way through the run. And honestly, it's really well earned by this point, and we do need that chance to gear ourselves up for the next part, because Slash is a little bit unforgiving.
Why did she stare at me? Did I miscount by one?
Okay, so that's another $10 from Fayte.
I guess, but I'm actually not sure. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Huh. That one's got me a little bit confused. But we'll mark it down as an RNG drop, for sure.
Thank you, Red, for the 600 bits towards saving the animals, because animals are amazing. My cat Mewtwo thanks you.
Oh, I just saw. I need to... Did I just see fire 10? Is that what I just saw? Fayte
You've been upgraded. Congratulations. It's one less character.
It's one less thing to worry about. I must be behind. Oh, I need to menu here. We need you to hit harder with magic. We need you to be really angry at everything that's happening. You get the ruby vest, and you, because you're angry, don't need to have any kind of helmet on because you need to just go berserk. We grabbed that. Okay. We find fake flea. $188? Okay, yeah, we're on RNG now. I still am not sure where I did that with. Oh, I bet you I was still thinking on when we were doing the overlevel before we did this run. I bet you that's what it was.
I didn't see you try to correct, but
Well, that's what
it didn't happen.
Because I would have corrected with the stare.
This is a really good example, as we mentioned a couple of times now. I know we did talk about it a bit earlier, but the game is incredibly forgiving in the sense that should things go awry, it's generally not that difficult to get yourself back on track. This would be towards the point of you do kind of need to know what it was that you did, and the most difficult part about that is 95+% of your runs are going to go one way, and sometimes it doesn't go according to plan. I'm seeing 500 bits from Poplars towards killing the animals, and I just want to say again that if any of you love your pets, you should be donating towards saving the animals and to feeding the kids.
I know what happened now. I miscounted on the music going through, or cycling through. What I thought was the second cycle through had to have been the third. Alright, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So we really didn't get into it. I did talk about the massive break that we have here during Flea, but because we set RNG in a specific fashion, Frog will always be doing the same damage for each of the hits that happen in succession, especially given that it's the only thing advancing RNG. It's really convenient the way that this works out, because Flea is a horrifying boss.
Hey, Era.
With the ability to hit all of your characters and confuse you. Oh, it's another tab! That's another $20 from us.
Well, no. Okay, from us, yes.
Yes. Yeah, well, it's 40 for me.
It's
because
40 from
I haven't
you?
donated yet I haven't donated for the last 3.
Oh.
Plus this one. So that's another 40 from me. And another 10 for you. But that one specifically was 20. And I think that's actually our last tab of the run. I mean, you can pick up an extra speed belt, but oh wait! Oh yeah, that is the one. That is the last one. The one that we didn't need.
Yeah. I absolutely love Flea's philosophy too of male, female, who cares? Power is beauty. That's all that really matters at the end of the day.
Flea has all the power.
Mm-hmm. Lady Chuck has gone rogue. Oh no. Alright, so here we are on Slash, which is probably the hardest fight that you come across in the Defeat Magus percent. This one can go off the rails really, really fast. So, was I fully healed?
I sure hope so.
Yeah, I was.
It's possible to recover from a couple of things, but it's incredibly unlikely. Slash attacks real fast. He has this huge tendency to counterattack, and it's a bit too much for us at these levels.
I'm gonna leave comms to you while I focus in on this.
Once again, as it has happened a couple of times, we're kind of banking on Frog to do most of the work here. He's still got the Berserker on, which means he's going to be attacking regularly, and we've touched on before, we don't really lose any time on inputs if we're telling our characters what to do during an animation, and a lot of that's what's going to happen here. Frog's going to do an awful lot of work, and then one of his attacks we're going to do something with both Chrono and Robo, and we're just going to follow up with that. So, a couple of times, Slash is going to attack, and we're going to use that opportunity to follow up. This is actually separated into two parts as well. There's technically two boss fights. One is Slash, one is upgraded Slash. And the second time is going to be a little bit more scary, so we're going to be taking some of that time to heal as well. And what's probably most important about that, given the way we've talked about RNG, is that using items does not advance our RNG at all. So we know that when a character attacks, it'll advance the script a little bit, whereas changes nothing, it's absolutely fine. If we use attack, it'll advance RNG more. But if, again, we use an item, it doesn't change the RNG at all. All that really does that's bad for us is resets the ATB for that character. A little more dangerous in the sense of Robo, because he has the lowest speed. But we can use that to our advantage just as much now as we do later. Thankfully, Chrono's doing the healing on this front, so he can kind of outpace Slash. The only time this becomes difficult is when we're in the last few inputs. If we went a little bit off script, there's a higher chance that somebody dies here. Winning the fight is easy enough. Winning the fight with all characters alive is where it becomes difficult, and since this is a boss, there's more experience available for us to lose.
After this boss fight is a really good time for donations, because then it's just kind of the climb up the tower. Okay, that fight's done. We're good. We are good. Yep, so soon as this is good, because I got a small menu to do, and yeah, we're good. Why did Chrono go first?
Given Magus is the only concern, this should still be fine. Although I do think that's another $10 from you from being off RNG. I would do a backup save. Definitely backup save. So earlier on, Ozzy, the floating green pickle, or big green guy with the white robes, said that we were going to have to fight all 100 monsters in Magus's castle. We're going to fight like
Hold up,
18
donations.
Hello, everybody. Test. Yo, perfect timing. Unknown availability. I've known Jay for a few years now. By far, one of the nicest individuals to ever grace Twitch. AKDTE is such a noble cause. I'm glad I was able to be at least somewhat a part of it. Much love, Jay. Never change. Yo, Unknown, thank you so much. And big shout outs to Unknown availability.
It's
truly,
difficult sometimes.
all the layouts
managing, like,
that you are seeing,
2 streams and 2 audio sources.
Today,
I definitely take full blame for that, though.
No, I don't think Jay's even started
truly
yet, so I didn't realize.
would not have been possible without you, my friend.
Well, knowing that we're going to be skipping a lot of these fights, we probably
big shout out
can't.
to Unknown. Thanks
There's only 2
so
things
much
I really
for
want to
the
mention.
$25.
We get to pay a lot of particular attention to the way that
and let's
the encounter
see
triggers are lined up.
about the last
in some rooms
few
they're
donations
only in the
we
middle,
had.
and in most of the rooms where they're not in the middle, we can actually run from them.
$20
So very few
from
fights
Lady
here
Chalk
are actually required.
saying save those animals. We also had let me see. One moment. Here it is. We had a 100-bit donation from Keat Ketchum. Said, Pog Champ train 6K. There ain't no getting off of this train we on. Nice. We had a 10-bit donation from Cosmic Corgo 10. Thank you. 600-bit donation from Redemption. Save the animals because chaos. I believe that was the donation that actually caused it to be even, which I'll get to that when I finish these final few donations. Poplars donated 500 bits. Pride 100, Pride 100, Pride 100, Pride 100, Pride 100. Kill those animals. Stratlaw comes back with 500 bits. Save the animals. Franker Z 500. Save the world. And now that puts us at $765 for save and $745 for kill, unless Unknown Availability wanted to put their donation towards save. I thought so. Dang. All right, so that puts, wow, that puts Kill the Animals at 770, taking a $5 lead over Save. Oh my gosh. The people who were following the Save Kill incentive early today are gonna wake up tomorrow morning or come to the stream tomorrow and are gonna be like, whoa, what happened yesterday? Big shout outs to all you peoples out there. Again, I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna give one more shout out to Cardinal Redbird for the $1,000 dono. But I want to bring some highlights to some other really big donos we got today. So, for example, some top donors that we've had today, Invarial and Redemption, they've donated $514. Dr. Toon with $500. Everald Johnson with $285. Not Fire 9 with $198. Cheese Reaver with $196. Seneth with $170. And Lady Chalk out here with $130. Big shout outs to all those wonderful top donors, but there's still so many more. We've had close to, let me see. Oh heck, it's a new day. So we've had quite a few donations today. I mean, look at the donation total, fam. $7,236.46. I can't even imagine this. It's crazy. Okay, we're gonna throw it back over to Fayte and Airless. Truly, this has actually been a fantastic run. I'm really enjoying the commentary, so hope you guys are too. Peace. I'm going to quickly hop in here right quick, and Airless donates $40. That's another $10 per dab. Let's go, ya yeet. Per tab. Thank you very much.
Here we see Ozzy is in a bit of a pickle. His beloved lieutenants Slash and Flea have they're nowhere to be found, and we have no idea why that is. We totally didn't scare them off or anything, but it definitely gives us the impression we're coming down to that point where we're gonna get to face off against Ozzy. Clearly he runs the place, so we should be intimidated. You can't see it, but I did just dab because that keeps things consistent.
Okay, so yeah, I need to stop watching how donations are going when I'm trying to do this run. Oh boy. I'm so excited for all the progress that we've made today, you guys. It's insane to see that much coming in for a charity that's getting its feet off the ground this year, the first day.
It is definitely some massive progress. And a little bit of progress to Fayte for realizing that this is an important part of the game that he should be paying attention to, but I can agree he is paying attention to something more important.
So I know we didn't have the donation incentives set up the way I had originally wanted, but with everything we've gotten to come in, how would you guys like or feel about us doing the entire run all the way through instead of just stopping at Magus, which is, like Era has said, about 70% of the way through, so probably another hour to the run after we defeat Magus?
Gotta say, it is a sight to behold, because if you thought that anything that was here was difficult, it really changes things up. We get to see significantly more of the lore. We get to see one of the really late side quest bosses. We do that because of the setup it gives us to do the whole Lavos shell gauntlet and then fighting Lavos afterwards, which is probably the intensity of most of this run, all bunched up into about a 10-15 minute period.
No. It's just a no.
I'm gonna speak for people when I say they all probably want more Chrono Trigger, but everything that's happened in the last 2 hours has been incredible. I know the day's been going really well, but I think it's built to a very nice point. Definitely happy I could see the donation counter go from in the 5,000s now up into the 7,000s and still climb.
Well, and when we started our countdown this morning, it was at 3,000. Or a little over 3,000. So, you guys are crazy cool. So, we've got our schedule coming up for tomorrow. What are you guys most excited for? Top right. I actually had better pull up my notes. If we're looking at going past Magus, I need to have that up. I also forgot that split.
Well, I'm really glad that you decided to think about that when you were switching Marlin to the party. One of those things that we don't need to do for the Defeat Magus run, but is actually incredibly important for the rest. There's just that one fight where we figure, okay, Marl's gonna be good enough here, and she needs a few extra tech points in order to learn the skills that we need. So it's one of those few little changes. There's not a lot, between just going to defeat Magus compared to going through the rest of the game, and that's one of the more important ones.
If I hit for a 124 and a 125, okay. I was gonna say, there's no way I accidentally put myself on the correct RNG from a blind load. There's no way. And yeah, I didn't.
At Aussie though, I mean, you never know what's gonna happen at Aussie.
Because that's something that Chrono Trigger does, is after the fights, the RNG, because it's a specific value, will snap to certain windows.
That's a 119.
I think it's...
That's a 119. That's a hard maybe.
It is a 119, but I also had Chrono die.
Just as Fayte was saying, it's funny the way that it snaps the battle values like this from the RNG. And one of the really strange circumstances surrounding that is that Aussie is, in fact, 4 different fights. So it actually snaps the RNG quite wildly, and there is a pretty good chance that we are on the correct RNG. Whether or not Fayte wants to risk it is up for grabs.
There's no reason not to risk it. If I'm on the right RNG, we make time. If I'm not, it's a really, really quick figure out. And here is the great Magus. With one of my favorite songs in the entire game.
I can't deny that. That is one of the most memorable themes. And speaking of amazing themes and favorite songs, you never did answer. What is your favorite story portion of Chrono Trigger?
I would have to say it is the death of a character, and because of time travel, your ability to go back through and save said character.
That's a good way to prevent spoilers. And my way of not going around that would be to mention the game's title. I think that's the safest way I can get around that.
Well, the Chrono Trigger is the item that we use to save the character. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's why Chrono's name is different from Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger being time trigger, with Chrono being a name.
Yeah, it really does make you wish that this initial version had 6 characters for names. You think they would have considered that when they, named it.
Well, if that's the case, I will probably end it with Magus, unless one of the other mods is going to stay awake, because I'm not doing this and then dealing with restream. I'm way too lazy for that.
Well, all kids deserve to eat, but they also deserve to sleep. So I could definitely see that playing out either way.
And I have to reload because, for me, the restream is still back at me climbing up Magus's tower. So, with that reload, suddenly I'm only 20 seconds behind. Alright, let's hope this is right. I hate this load so much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
As I mentioned towards the start of this climb, this particular reload is... Honestly, I think it's probably the most unforgiving load we have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the entire run, not just defeat Magus. This is the most specific reload, to the point where we've actually had discussions depending on input lag when it is best to try and load the file. I've always been a particular proponent, as much as the notes say 11, I actually aim for kind of a 10.5.
Mm-hmm. That's
and even I'm not
too.
all that consistent.
I'm usually a little more consistent than this, but I'm just so excited from being able to hang out with you guys and all of these donations coming in and everything we've been able to do. I need shadow or lightning, one of the two, and I'll be set. Hey, there we go. All right, we're in business.
Shadow starts good.
Yep.
Were you prepared for double lightning?
I was.
Okay. We did mention that Slash was probably the hardest boss fight in this particular category. Because as much as it's difficult to get a good load from Magus, there's a couple of different battle values we can snap onto that make this fight reasonable. And we kind of need them to be based around what it is that Chrono can put out. Because Chrono has the ability to use lightning abilities, as well as double text with Robo to make shadow abilities, and the fact that we have a very high resistance to both of these abilities, it speeds things along quite well. As you mentioned from the unequipped glitch, 2 of the 3 of our characters have very high resistance to a variety of elements. The only one that we can't afford to see is fire, which is why Luca's not in the party at all.
No, this is game. Yep, we got lightning. We're good. We are set.
Shadow, lightning is the pattern that we try to look for. You'll see the rocket roll, and then the lightning, and then there's very little damage remaining left before we push Magus into Phase 2. And during Phase 2, he, quote-unquote, begins to cast a spell, at which point he starts taking a lot of physical damage as well, and no longer counterattacks us with magic. So we can just lay into him with our most powerful abilities. The drawback, every time Magus finishes casting that spell, it's called Dark Matter. It's incredibly powerful and does a massive amount of damage to us, even with our resistances. We do have to power through it a little bit, but once we're into Phase 2, it's pretty much a free run for us because we can take the time to heal whatever character needs it, which is usually just Frog, and we only have to heal him once. As long as you keep attacking, you're good to go.
No way. What? I think this is the first time I'll actually be able to complete this on RNG, actually. Never mind. There goes that idea.
Even getting into Phase 2 in RNG, as Fayte's pointing out, it's not really necessary, so it's not something we focus on too much. It does save a few seconds, but if we can get there, we're fairly well set. But when we do get in Phase 2 on RNG, we still have to be very precise about our inputs. And it's the difference between Magus getting off a second Dark Matter or not, because that changes whether or not we need to heal, and these sorts of things just sort of add up.
Wait, why? Who's wild? I missed something. No, I need the mid tonic here on you, so you survive. And yeah, now we're good.
If we are able to continue towards the end of the run, that 90 minutes accounts for additional errors. It's not even an hour, I think.
For me it is just because of the Lavo Shell Black Tyranno.
Yeah, well, I mean, taking your time there is important, plus running on battle speed 4 for Lavos. Not that that takes too much time, but I mean... I'm just thinking world record pace, it's...
Good night, Lady Chop.
Just barely over an hour, I think, right? World record pace?
I think so.
From Magus down to end of game?
That sounds right.
Which isn't too bad.
It's basically just a boss rush after that point.
Yeah.
We go through one last dungeon, and then it's... After the boss of that dungeon, we go straight into boss after boss after boss after game.
Which is incredible.
We need to wait
If
for
you're
Neil
able to stick
kneel.
around and watch that, I highly recommend. Lavo Shell is incredible.
Wait for the kneel, and
there we go. So that's time for Defeat Magus. Congratulations, Fayte.
Thanks. Thank you very
So
much.
I only have one question for you.
I did not beat your time. I know. Oh wait, what's your question?
It was related.
I'm waiting. What was it?
Did you beat your best mods PB?
I did not beat the best mods PB.
Still, gotta say, marathon setting, whole bunch of distractions, plus $1,000 dono from Cardinal Redbird. Again, just gonna gush over that a little bit because that is amazing. Thank you so much.
So I need to do this, huh? So I guess I actually need to know if I'm going to continue going or not before I continue clicking buttons. So let's click here. So I'm taking care of the last of the donations that I owe for losing the bet, and all the other RNG drops and mistakes we made. Come on. Why is it gotta be so slow today? I blame Jay for this. Well, anyway, thank you so much for joining me for Commentary Era. It has been a blast working with you, as it always is.
And I had an amazing time. Thank you for putting on this run, and Jay and all the other contributors for putting together this charity. This not only has been a blast, but it's just inherently incredible.
Now go get some sleep, sir.